Oh, look,
in one
look, a
place.
Diablo 3 boss here.
Oh, nice. Which one is that? I have not seen that.
Malatail.
Welcome. Thank you for coming on to tell us about your Crusader build.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us about the skills?
So basically, this build is mostly focused around those two main skills that you see here, Punish and Shield Bash. So Punish is going to be your single hit, single enemy strike that actually also buffs your shield block chance by a decent amount, 25%.
Oh, that's nice.
And yeah, so this is what actually allows me to reach 90% overall shield block. And Shield Bash is pretty much just your nuke skill, so it allows you to jump into enemy groups. It has overall 800% overall damage if it hits with both the weapon and the shield at the same time. And yeah, it's propped up a bit by some cooldown reduction in some of the items that I'm using at the moment right now. So I have a relic that reduces by 0.5. I also have some gloves that gives you additional fire damage and lightning damage as well.
What sort of debuffs are you benefiting from?
So this build does pretty much shred almost everything. So Shield Glare, it's my main debuff that I'm running. So it gives you 400 reduced DA.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, 29 reduced resistances overall. And it gives you 100% chance to fumble and impaired aim for 4 seconds.
Oh, geez, and it's got a 6-second recharge.
Recharge.
Yeah. That's pretty OP, if you ask me.
It is, and because it's a type A resist reduction, it stacks up with the type Bs that I have. So Heaven's Fury has a minus 40 fire resistance. Look at the damage that the pillars do by themselves. I'm not gonna do anything. The pillars are just gonna kill the enemies for me.
Nice.
And look at the leech. I also have Eldritch Fire, which gives you minus 23 on the Punish, and Earth also has minus 37 on Softened Metal. So overall, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 129 fire resist reduction that I'm running at the moment.
Yeah, that seems respectable. You want at least 120 for fire.
Yeah, definitely, because most enemies, at least especially the fire resistance ones, are running about 113%.
Yeah.
We also have reduced target damage as well, almost 30%, as long as I can keep the enemies on the consecration area. And I also have OA Shred, so I have 215 here on consecration, and I also have 190 here in Softened Metal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I can shred about 400 OA from enemies as well.
What's your OA and DA at now?
At the moment, without triggering my buffs, my main buff, which is Akarat's Champion, I have 3.1k defensive ability and almost also 3.1 offensive ability. Yeah.
Yeah, that's OP as fuck.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, well, I was thinking like, okay, well, it's got all this shred, then it must be compensating for low OA and DA, but that's definitely not the case here.
No, and I also have 25,000 HP, so.
Oh wow!
Definitely.
I didn't even see that yet. Yeah, that's insane. Have you ran it through the Shattered Realm?
No, not yet. I've unlocked it, so I can go a couple of rounds in it. But I have run it against the Elite Celestials, and I come up against all 3 without a scratch.
Oh wow! Even the Crate of Entertainment boss, have you fought that one?
Yeah, not yet, because that's only for Ultimate, so I'm still working on Ultimate's content.
I fought it and it was bugged. Like, I went through the entire quest line as my first time running it, and I finally got to him, and he was bugged, and he just stood there, and I killed him in about, like, 15 seconds, and I didn't catch it until, like, afterwards. I put out the video, like, all proud, and then I went back and I got wiped.
Yeah, because that's the normal experience. You actually get wiped in 15 seconds, not the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm sure you've got some other skills and stuff too that are super important. I just wanted I just wanted to ask about the OA and the DA there.
Yeah, no, but for example, let me show you. So when this main build is focused around the armor of a Kant set. So overall, when you finish the set, you get 5-second cooldown reduction to Akarat's champion. You get additional 15 total damage modified to Akarat's champion. So Akarat's champion is the big buff. So as you can see here, it gives me 260% increase in physical damage and fire damage, 20% extra defensive ability, and 45% armor.
Jesus Christ, is that 20% defensive ability?
Yes.
Dude, what the fuck?
So when I'm gonna run it now.
So what is your DA cap out then with the because you get a buff from something else, right? Or was that just that was just your shield bonuses?
That's just the shield, yeah.
Okay.
So my DA caps out right now at 3.6.
Yeah, that's pretty respectable, I gotta say.
But the trick for this build is running both Akarat's champion and Iron Skin. So when I run Akarat's champion, DA goes up to 3.6, armor goes to 4,000, which also gets a buff from when the Seal of Hephaestus triggers, because it gives me an additional 15% armor and 12% health.
What's the seal from?
It's the legendary ring.
Okay, I must not be seeing it because it's blurry, but
yeah. But this, you have a 25% chance of this triggering when you get hit, and it's pretty much always getting triggered constantly during battle. So you're always getting this buff, and you can layer it on top of the Akarat's champion. So the cool trick of this build is once Akarat champion runs out, I can activate Iron Skin. And Iron Skin has a 4-second duration, and Akarat's champion has a 4.8 cooldown. So pretty much once Iron Skin runs out, I can almost immediately trigger Akarat's, and Iron Skin has 100% damage absorption.
Yeah,
so
that's super nice.
Yeah, so when I'm fighting Celestials and bosses and stuff, I only have like 0.8 seconds where I'm actually vulnerable. Most of the times, I'm pretty much like a rock.
What's the duration on the Akarats?
20 seconds.
Yeah, see. Yeah, that's pretty much 100% invulnerability. Even with the 0.8 seconds, your DA and your armor is so high, you're pretty much invulnerable anyways.
Yeah, because for the when Iron Skin is almost running out, I try to make sure I put a consecration, so I get 215 offensive ability from bosses. So at least and I reduce their damage for 30%. So at least for those 0.8, I try to avoid as many burst damage as I can.
Yeah, you're at like 350 for an OA debuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I figured. Yeah, it's super nice. Anything else worth mentioning as far as the buffs and debuffs on the spell?
No, that's pretty much it. I'm running buff-wise. I'm running the Ring of Flame, so it's just pretty much so I can have Soften Metal up. Earth Enchantment, it's the main fire damage and offensive ability buff. It works pretty much like what was that?
Is it the one on the Demolitionist?
And yeah, exactly, like Temper, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
It's pretty much the same. So you have increased attack speed, you have fire damage, you have offensive ability. The cool thing is it also gives you a 15% additional armor and 25% armor absorption. So you can pretty much save some component slots just with this buff alone.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because this is in Dawn of Masteries, right? There are so many much more worthwhile components in this mod that any extra slots are definitely worth your time.
Definitely. For example, with this, I was able to slot this in my armor, Esoteric Alteration, which gives me 12 dodge chance to projectiles, and 20 resistances in poison, vitality, ether, chaos, and overall elementals.
Yeah, that's super nice.
Look, my elemental damage, most of my resistances are overcapped at 100% in ultimate. So I have plus 263 over maximum fire, plus 228 cold, and plus 167 lightning. So Celestials, even with their resistance reductions that they have, which are pretty huge, especially Abby, which takes like 80% out of lightning.
I was just about to say, they're usually around the 80s.
Yeah, it doesn't dent me at all.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I was trying to think because like there's so many components in Dawn of Masteries. Like I haven't even gone through them all yet.
Yeah, no, so definitely.
It's just like basically an infinite combination of components that you can now have in this mod, which I thoroughly enjoy because I'm used to using the same components on every single build. You know?
Oh yeah, no, it's not only the components as well; it's also the augments. I mean, you have so much versatility with the crystallized elements. And they're really, really insane if you can afford them. I mean, because this build has so much defensive ability and resistance. Well, I don't really need to use the normal augments.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just talking to Mamba too, and I guess like in the next patch, he's gonna have like the conversion for epic to legendary tokens.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's 1 to 32. 1 for every 32.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems about fair.
Because I have so many, I'm like, what am I doing with all these? I'm not even at level 50 yet. I have almost 1,000.
Yeah, and epic components are pretty much useless. I mean, it's for leveling gear, but if you get decent gear because of on the augments that you have, you don't really need to actually waste that many epic components. I pretty much just used green gear overall in this build until I got to level 84 when I first started using legendaries.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing on the build that I've been playing. But I think I already changed my build.
Yeah. Especially in this build, the only gear that you're really gonna need, it's pretty much only at level 94. Everything else is just optional until then.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I wanted to ask you what you had used to level up with, if it was the same skills or did you level up with a different, skill set?
Oh, pretty much I've been leveling up with the same skill set. The only difference is that I also use Condemn for the AoE because the Shield Bash at the start, it's really, really bad to take on groups. So it's cool to actually go on top of the groups and run into them, but the AoE damage is not that good at the start. So I was running Condemned until like level 60 or 70. That's when I drop all my skill points from Condemn into Shield Bash.
Awesome. Yeah, I used to love that skill in Diablo 3 actually.
Yeah, because the flat fire damage that it has is really, really insane. I mean, just at level 1 you have about 2k fire damage plus the main hand damage, so it gets incrementally higher. At level 16 I had like 25 or 26,000 fire damage, so it was really, really good.
Nice. For
groups, yeah.
That's sweet.
But that was pretty much just the main change. Everything else I've been running the same build.
Is that shield glare that you're using too?
Yes. Yeah, that's the DA shred.
Yeah, I do remember that one. And then the far right one, the top one.
Yeah, Heaven's Fury, it's pretty much just for the fire resistance, so the 40% fire RR. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's the only downside with this skill, it's that it tracks, so it's not really
slow too, isn't it?
It's really slow, but you can run multiple at the same time.
Yeah, at least it looks cool.
Yeah, it looks and it does a ton of damage because once all 3 beams converge in a single enemy, it's about 10k fire damage per tick. So 3 of them, 30k, and if you get crits, so
yeah,
my crit rate is 73%.
Holy shit!
And I get an additional 19% when I have the punish buff going on. So
did you say your crit rate or your crit damage?
My crit damage, sorry.
Okay, I thought you said your crit rate. I'm like, holy shit, that'd be like, 3 out of 4 attacks.
Yeah, no, the maximum is 50%. That's what I got with the Unrager build, with like 6 KOA or something insane like that.
Right on.
But yeah, so about 92% critical damage that I got.
What's the green proc? Is that off of your rings? Or...
The green proc, yeah, it's from the skillful ring that I crafted that has ether missiles, just drops like some small damage on top of them.
Oh, okay. It's not really there
No.
for the proc. I gotcha.
Yeah, no.
It just looks cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sad that the Salam is gonna nerf the skillful ring, but at least that's gonna open a bit more build variety. Because at the moment, if you want to get to the top performance on your builds, the skillful set is the way to go.
Yeah, I wonder what the justification is, if it's he's trying to balance the entire mod of Masteries, or if he's getting rid of it to balance his sets that he is coming out with. Makes me wonder which will come first, if they'll both come at the same time, or if he's gonna nuke those rings and then we'll be out of luck until he finishes his sets.
But yeah, now I understand. I mean, technically you shouldn't be able to craft legendary rings and amulets with prefixes and suffixes. So I think it's just a design flaw, because I think no other ring set or amulet that you can craft either by the tokens or by the GrimQuest blacksmithing Grimarillion, none of them also have prefixes and suffixes. It's just a skillful set. So I think it was either an oversight by Asylum or just a design flaw.
Hard to say. I think it's I think they just want to get rid of the +2 to all skills.
Yeah.
Which will be a shame, because I like, being able to have that diversity to support builds that are cross-mod.
True, but the thing is, for example, you have a lot of really great amulets, especially for Earth.
It's a low level set, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a level 63 level set.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, it's something that you can use early on to get your build to the end game, where you could actually, get some of this nicer gear to support your builds.
Exactly, but that's the thing. For example, there's the Divine Eye of Flame, which is a legendary amulet that will really work well for this Earth Crusader build. It gives you flat fire damage. It gives you about 100% fire damage. It converts some physical damage into fire damage. It gives you cooldown reduction, which can pretty much bring my Karat's champion cooldown down to 20 if I pair it with an obsidian ring. So the thing is, if I put this amulet on the ring, I'm gonna lose not only the plus skills, but I will also lose the life leech as well. So it's like the trade-off is not as good. So when he does the changes, it will actually force me to play around with this change, which is gonna be nice. It's gonna be a bit different to how I was playing this build, but it's gonna be a challenge adapting to it.
Fair enough.
The modifier for Rig of Flame, Soften Metal. So this gives you OA Shred and physical, fire, and chaos resistance shred. This is actually one of the, in my opinion, it's one of the best debuffs that you can have, because 25 physical resistance is not it's not great, but it's also not bad. But the chaos resistance reduction is really good. Yeah. You don't really get that many sources of chaos resistance reduction. This is about 40% at max level, so it's really good. I'm thinking about doing some other builds around Earth that's gonna be chaos focused.
Yeah, I would like to do a chaos build too. I just don't like doing the fire builds anymore. I have so many fire builds, and it's like that's all the attacks are anymore. It's just I see fire everywhere, and like a chaos build, I would like to see, stuff like Doom Bolt, stuff like that.
There's a really good build that I had on the main game that I'm gonna try on DoM, which is a mixture of the Razin set, which is typically used for witch plates, dual wielding witch plates, but I'm gonna use it with the Harbinger set, which is a ranged weapon that has the touch of Doom, and that weapon, the combination of those two sets, you can run the full sets, the full set bonuses, because it's different pieces for both sets, and it gives you about, I remember on my main game I had about 200k DPS tooltip. So I bet that with the augments and the components that DoM has, it's gonna be something insane.
Yeah, that'll be cool. The only thing, going back to Doombolt and the Occultist is like it has all of those chaos skills, but no chaos resist reduction.
Yeah, you need items for that. That's the problem.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
And even the items are not that great, because that Harbinger set has a modifier for Curse of Frailty, but it's only minus 25% chaos.
Right.
So it's really not that.
Now.
Yeah,
that's not great. But yeah, and there's tons of items that proc Doombolt, so you would think they would have just a little bit more synergy. I guess the only synergy you get may be Demolition. In original Grim Dawn, it would be the Occultist and the Demolition. This is the only two that I can think of.
You could run a decent Occultist and Arcanist as well, because it's defense-wise, it's one of the best builds. You get about 40% damage absorption if running both Mavens and Possession. And the good thing is that you can buff the chaos damage from Doombolt as well, because you have the passive that increases your chaos damage, and you can run a chaos version of AAR.
Yeah.
So you can pair the chaos AAR with the Clairvoyant set and Doombolt as well, it's kind of nice build. I've done it.
That sounds like fun.
Well, the good thing and the bad thing about Doombolt is that the reason why you don't have many Chaos RR in the game, because Doombolt, it's way OP. I mean, if you do a direct hit, it deals double damage. Just by that fact alone, and the total flat damage it's insanely huge.
Let's check out some of your gear.
So this weapon here, it's pretty much the only weapon yet that you can run in this build. So all of the flat damage of the weapon is fire damage. Doesn't really need to convert, it's straight on fire damage. 322 to 453 fire damage.
You got some really good rolls on that. Was that on a first craft, or did you craft a bunch of those?
No, that was like the fourth or fifth craft.
I was gonna say, man, like you got some really nice rolls on that.
I wasted almost all of my legs here.
Yeah, either that or it's just extremely OP.
No, it is OP from the get-go, because the lowest roll that I had was about 360 fire damage. I had a bit more OA, it had about 70 OA, but the crit damage also was like 8, the attack speed was like 16. So
sure.
Yeah, the fire damage was, the OA was better, but everything else was worst. But yeah, from the get-go, it's really, really OP. I mean, 441 fire damage. I mean, that's insane for a one-handed weapon.
Just so people know, you converted a two-handed weapon into a one-handed weapon with
exactly with
heavenly strength, which does require a shield. You can't dual wield it.
Exactly. So you cannot dual wield it. That'd be
so
way
OP. Yeah.
But then again, I mean, it does give you some really nice buffs as well, not just the one-handed capacity. So you have 25% shield recovery and 25% dodge. So that's insane. I mean, you have more dodge with this build than with a Nightblade.
That's awesome. We will get into like the shield recovery time, but I was doing some research on that. And I didn't find a whole lot in the constellations, but there are a few items too. If you look at the database, there's a few items that have shield recovery time.
Oh, definitely. And Earth is not that's the only downside of this build, is that Earth doesn't really have any shield related buffs. So everything is coming from the Crusader side. So if I were to pair the Crusader with something like defense from GrimQuest or Oathkeeper, then yeah, definitely that shield recovery time and the shield block chance would be much, much higher.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, I also forgot to mention this little skill here, volatility. So, it's not a permanent buff per se, so it only triggers 33% of the times. But when it triggers, it gives you 96% critical damage and 345% fire damage, and has a permanent effect of increasing your OA by 14%.
Is there a cap on crit damage?
I haven't seen one, to be honest. The highest crit damage that I ran was the highest crit damage that I've seen was a times 4.5.
Jeez, that's insane.
Yeah,
I just
was with my ranger build, so
that's insane. What about your shield?
So, Defender of Westmarch. This was the shield that actually made me run this build. I mean, just look at the stats. It has 35% chance to block 1,500 damage. So it's really has a ton of damage absorption on the shield. But the shield itself has 1,200 health. It gives you the attack damage to health 4%, 11% attack speed, and it gives you resistances across the board.
Yeah, like those 11%. Are really nice. Jesus, those are super high too.
Yeah. Plus, the proc skill is really awesome. It pretty much just throws a wolf to your enemies. It doesn't do that much damage. It's about 150% of your shield damage, but it gives you like 10% of that back to your health. It's really cool because this build goes up to 90% block. You're almost blocking all of the time, and this triggers 100% of the times that you block. So the wolves are almost always popping up, so you're always getting at least damage back to you all the time.
Right, it's got no cooldown, which seems OP.
Exactly, no cooldown at all. Plus, I got this really amazing component on it, so it gives you additional shield recovery, additional shield block chance, more damage blocked, and 30% pierce resistance.
Very nice.
The rest is pretty much around the armor of a cannon build, so it's a 5-piece set. So there's not really much choice to go here. The pieces are okay. I mean, most of them give you fire resistance, which is nice for an endgame set. The helm gives you additional skill cooldown as well, so it's good, but it gives you some skill modifiers for skills that I'm not using at the moment, so slash and condemn. So for condemn builds, this is also the set to go. On the armor, again, some overall good buffs as well, like 78 defensive ability and 9% dodge. Almost all of the pieces give you 2 points to different skills across the board. So the set gives you 2 to Accurate Champion, to Loss of Valor. The Polders gives you 2 to Crush and Fervor. The Boots gives you 2 to Divine Fortress and Phalanx. And the Legs gives you 2 Loss of Justice and Bombardment. So you got also 3 pieces giving you physical resistance. And you get tons of total speed, plus kills in Crusader, plus 10% in health. So it's a really good set. It's really well balanced overall.
Awesome. What's your physical resistance at?
At the moment, it's 38%.
Oh, that's not bad. I like to keep it around 30 if possible. It's so rare though, especially in the early game.
Yeah, and I could definitely have made it like 42 if I went with the Seal of Might instead of the Seal of Destruction here. Yeah. I just thought that I have just so much armor, DA, and physical resistance that I can sacrifice some additional layers of damage reduction. Just add a bit more damage to the build.
Yeah, that's cool. And your relic is based on a weapon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Draken. It's based on a shield, actually, Draken's shield. So it's also really good. It's a really good relic. I was running an Earth relic before. This relic actually decreased my DPS by a ton. So I was running. If I still have it here, yes, this one. That's called Heart of the Earth. So it gives you +1 to Earth Mastery, but it's the buff that was really good. So it gave you almost 2,000 flat fire damage, plus 150% fire damage. So my DPS actually was about 130k when I was using that relic. And when I switched to Dragon, it actually dropped significantly. The thing is, this has the 0.5 second recharge shield bash, and it gives you also +1 to Crusaders, which is what I needed to actually bring Punish, Heaven's Fury, and Accurate Champion to the max levels.
Yeah, and the thing about the D3 skills are, you know, +1 skills may not sound like a lot, but there's a lot of bonuses that you get by soft capping the skills. So 1 point may make or break your build. So
yeah, it is, especially because when you reach the soft cap, you unlock the soft cap bonuses that actually also get increased by any ultimate level that you have. So for example, when I'm running Punish with a buff, it actually increases my health regen by 140%. So not only am I leeching all the time, my health regen is almost about 500 to 600 per second.
yeah,
so
that's really good.
There's a really lot of cool layers that you can play around with the D3 classes.
Yeah, I would say the hardest part of dealing with the D3 classes is there is so much to choose from. Those skill trees are jam-packed full of stuff, and there's so many debuffs that it's hard not to want to take all of them, you know?
True. But that's the thing, you really need to plan ahead. That's the good thing about the D3 classes. It forces you to plan them ahead. So you cannot, if you go running in wild, you're gonna spread your skills all over the place, and it's not gonna be as good.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
Just focus on 1 or 2 skills and that's it.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to go, is have one primary attack. I usually don't even have a nuke. Like, I'll just have like one primary attack. I'll have a bunch of debuffs for OA, DA, and resistance reduction, and then I'll have like my oh shit button, and that's it. Practically, you know?
Yeah. Now, there are some builds that you can actually do what I call a piano build, so you can fill all the slots down here and just pretty much just be pressing all the buttons there constantly. Yeah. But when you're actually playing a melee class, it doesn't really mesh together with that.
Sometimes with your main attack, you do need like an extra AoE too, because a lot of my builds will have an attack just for the AoE. But there's usually, like I said, some debuff on there too.
True, yeah.
But I play with a controller, so I try to limit my skills down to usually 6 at the very most. And that's even pushing it like a lot. That's like maximum, but
yeah. In this build, for example, I'm running 5 buffs, and then the 5 permanent buffs. So I just put him on the second bar. Yeah. Just toggle them at the start, and then just switch bars.
It consumes about 2/3 of your mana.
Exactly. So it's like almost 1,200 reserved.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if it works, it works. That's what
It works. Yeah, that's the thing. No, but the build is really mana hungry. Let me just give you an example here with the trained dummies. This is what happens when I'm playing around with the Celestial. So I just trigger Accurats, Shield, 1 Fury on Consecrate, and then...
Yeah, it eats it up pretty quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I have almost 40 mana regen per second, but it's not enough.
Do you just chug mana potions, or what do you do?
Yeah, well, I just wait until it reaches like 600, 500, I just chug one.
Yeah.
So it fully regens. Just when I was doing that small test, I did like 1.6 million DPS on the trained dummies.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you want to go over your
there you go.
Your devotions real quick?
Sure. So devotions is pretty straightforward. So I started by going through all of the fire damage procs that I could get. So Fiend was the very first one, and then running all the way from the bottom to Skull's Light for overall elemental damage, Quill for more elemental damage. This will give me enough points to go for Magi, and from Magi I went through Viper, Jackal, and then Soleil Witchbait just to get the Eldritch Fire resist reduction, and ended with Ulzwin's Torch. So This is pretty much what a standard fire caster build will do.
Yeah, I was just about to say it looks like a lot of my fire builds almost exactly.
Yeah.
Is there a reason that you didn't choose? Let me find it again. Stone form. Just out of curiosity, if you considered that one, it's to the far east.
Yeah. I know. That's actually one of the ones that I pick up the most.
Oh, really?
The thing is, the thing is for this particular build, I'm almost maxed out in my shield block chance. So this will only increase from 90 to 95. That's not big of an increase. I already have almost 4k armor. I have 3.7k DA. So this wouldn't actually work that well for me. Yes, it will give me more damage absorption in the end when Stormform triggers, but it's...
Yeah, it's got a 12-second recharge, but it's got a 8-second duration, and the 400 damage absorption would absorb quite a bit of dots and things like that.
Yeah, but remember, I have 600 health regen, so most dots don't really go through my health regen layer.
Sure, yeah, no, I'm not saying it's completely necessary for your build.
Yeah.
But it's something that I was considering doing for like my own Crusader build. I just haven't found the right combination of classes yet that will most likely get me to 100% armor absorption with 100% shield recovery time. I'm still kind of experimenting back and forth with things.
I'm pretty sure that the Crusader defense build can get there. And especially with that build will benefit immensely from Stormform, especially if you're gonna go for a retaliation build.
Oh yeah, I didn't consider defense yet. I was looking at warfare and Oathkeeper and things like that. Mainly for I wanted to try like a spin build with it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like I started with those first.
Yeah, but definitely, I mean, because defense has the passives that give you armor absorption as well, so you don't really need to worry that much with components as well. So I think, I mean, if Wong hasn't really finished his build, I'm probably gonna try that build as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Also, for the rest of my devotions, it's pretty much just also the standard blue ones. I mean, you got the Eel, you got Solemn Watcher.
I always take that one too.
It's really good. I mean, it gives you a lot of flat armor and it gives you a lot of defensive ability as well.
Yep.
I also took Scarab, also because it gives you a small shield bonuses as well.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I mean, I know that you also have some shield bonuses down here as well with Targo.
Yeah.
And Anvil as well. It's just that
they're purple.
Yeah, they're purple.
Purple is worthless in this.
Yeah, it's worthless for this build, especially because everything is fire damage. I mean, if I was gonna go for a physical damage build, I will need purple for the scepter here.
Yeah,
but other than that,
I was running into the same issues when I was trying to theory craft, and it's just like, it really surprised me how little shield support there is out of all of these constellations.
Yeah, I mean, if you search for it here, there's really not much.
There's like 2 constellations that have more than one support, or 3. There's 3 constellations that have more than one support. Maybe 2 if you count that one. I didn't see that one. Or 4.
Yeah, but it's funny because I don't think any of them actually gives you shield recovery, other than Shield Maiden.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only one.
Other than that, it's like shield damage blocked or some like,
and like
here
some
5%.
Some of it's not even an actual like shield. It just says shield in the description.
Exactly.
It's like not even a buff. So.
Yeah, no, it's like it makes you think why. I mean, and it's not like, especially on Grim's main game, there's really not that much shield support as well. I mean, you have Oathkeeper now, but even then, it really bothers me how shitty and slow the progression on Shattered Realms is.
Yeah, that's the other thing I don't like is the fucking slog of Shattered Realm. Just trying to get
I
stuff.
mean, They need to either discard the chunk system or make it much faster than what it is.
Yeah, it's very boring. The only time I ever had fun playing this is when you and I and Red would like run through and just like demolish stuff with our overpowered builds.
Yeah. I mean, you were jumping all around the place. I was just trying to catch up.
Well, that was the crazy thing is like we would like split up and then have it done in like seconds.
Yeah.
You know? That was fun, but this like running around, you have to kill all of the mobs, and then you get lost, and you have to backtrack back to where the mobs are, and then the portal doesn't even spawn near
or it
you.
Spawns like in the other part of the map, and you're like,
exactly.
Fuck off.
Yeah, then you gotta run over there, and then you spawn.
Yeah, and it's not like you have any more enemies just to teleport or warp into them or anything. No, you need to walk all the way there.
Yeah, it's very bizarre the way that this is set up. I'm not a huge fan. I don't even know how to fix it, honestly. I was thinking maybe if it was just like a boss
gauntlet, yeah. And then you start getting nemesis in and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of what this is, but it takes so damn long to get there. Like, how long do you have to fight in this before you even get to a boss?
Oh god, it takes to actually get to the decent bosses, at least only on the Shadow Realm 50 or something like that. Until then, it's just pretty much cannon fodder thrown at you. I don't know if you've seen the conversation that we're doing on the DoM channel, but I'm gonna do that troll build where you can actually do slow CC to Celestial One bosses with the Fang Shi debuff.
Yeah, I've got that. I've been playing around with the slow and the freeze between mage and the Fang Shi.
Mm-hmm.
And so far it's so. Mostly because like I've built a lot of stuff around the freeze.
Yeah.
But you could probably definitely pull something off with the slow. The slow works really good. Because it has that slow resistance reduction.
Yeah, exactly.
The only problem is, like, I'm trying to do both slow and freeze. And, like, a lot of, I don't know, man. It's like you can slow stuff, but when there's huge swarms, like, stuff will still get to you. So you definitely got to make sure your defenses and all that stuff are still up to par. You can't, like, you can't fully rely on it.
No, it's pretty much just it's gonna be like a troll build because you got a lot of, especially if you put it like with Nightblade, which has total speed reduction with the Veil of Shadow, plus you have some items that gives you additional total speed reduction as well. I think I played around the Grim tools for Nightblade. Yeah, exactly. I think you can get up to 40 total speed, plus you can add some additional other slow skills as well. So I'm hoping to get like 60% slow reduction on Celestials, just to see how fun it is to play against the slowdown Celestial.
Yeah, the slow does work a really good on bosses, but it's just huge packs is like your only concern.
Yeah.
Because you can't like slow the entire pack, especially when you're playing on Max Zeke or close to it.
Oh, but Max Zeke is also always insane to play at.
I've never really paid much attention to the sheet damage. I know I probably should, but since I play with the controller, like my skills aren't on there unless I bind them to the mouse.
Yeah.
Or whatever, so I've never really paid much attention to it. I've always just gone by the Grim Internals DPS.
Me too. I just use the tooltip DPS just as a benchmark to see how much the character is progressing mostly.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the one downside of the GI damage tooltip is that sometimes you're gonna see a lot more damage on the white numbers than on the red numbers. The thing is, you thinking, oh, okay, you're not doing that much damage, but you're actually doing a lot of damage to groups. It's really just that GI only takes the highest damage that you do to a single enemy. So sometimes those numbers can also be a bit deceiving as well.
Oh, okay.
Especially when your build is more focused on dealing large damage.
Yeah, I just thought it was the highest amount of damage you've done in 1 second.
No, it's about because I've seen situations where I've done like 2 or 3 million DPS with this build. It just doesn't show on the red one. It's because that it's gonna show the highest DPS that you do to a single enemy.
Oh, okay. Just out of curiosity, what's your take on the new? I guess it's like a pet scaled AOE proc on the new set.
Oh no, I haven't seen that one. I mean, the patch hit today, right?
Yeah, but you don't watch my videos. I put out a video of like.
I know that you put out a video. I haven't had time to check it, to be honest.
This fucking GrimCast is over. Goodbye. Hey guys, if you've made it this far, please let me know down in the comments or the Discord if you like this sort of content. Let me know if you think it should be longer or shorter. I genuinely want to know. If you have any questions about the build, you can ask Les in the Discord. And until then, stay excellent.